ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So this is a description about Swayambhuva Manu, how he transcended. We saw in the last verse the three different kinds of destinations. We saw the three destinations means actually nothing but this material world in short. Here it talks about how the person who is engaged in Krishna consciousness, whose mind is absorbed in Krishna consciousness, actually there is no possibility that such a person will be afflicted ever by the miseries of this material world. That means, very simple, when we are on material platform, we suffer miseries of this material world. When we are on spiritual platform, being absorbed in devotional service to the Lord, we transcend these miseries of the material world. So Prabhupada gives a very beautiful example. Prabhupada says, material world actually means it is something like you are thrown in salt mine. Just like we hear about gold mine. Right? Everywhere you go there is gold. This material world, Prabhupada says, is like salt mine. Anywhere you go, you can only taste salt. Right? There is no sweet. Similarly, in the material world, actually it is dukhalyam. There is no sukha. Just like in the salt mine, there is no sweet, it is only salty. Similarly, this is the nature of this material world. It is like being thrown in the salt mine. Everywhere you go, it's only miserable. What we conceive as happiness is actually illusory. And it is also temporary. The other day I was just hearing in one of the classes. So, this is the nature of this material so-called happiness. First of all, there is no real happiness, it is illusory. And even if you experience that illusory happiness also, that is also temporary. So actually everything is distress. So everything is miserable in this material world. That's why the Supreme Lord in Bhagavad Gita very clearly says it is dukhalyam. It's a place of misery. It's as good as, just like in the prison house, you cannot expect to be happy because after all it's a prison house. So this material world is also prison house of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. So here in the purport, Prabhupada is explaining the threefold miseries. Every living entity within this material world is always afflicted by some kind of miseries pertaining to the body, the mind, or natural disturbances. So we find Adhyatmik, Adhibhautik, Adidevik. These are the three kinds of miseries by which one is afflicted, either by one of them or a combination of either of three. Just like now we are seeing viruses, epidemic, pandemic, all these things are there. It's by other living entities. Our own mind, our own body gives us problem. Adhyatmik. Natural calamities. Few years back we saw tsunami, earthquake. The different kinds of miseries, one or other, are always there. This is the nature of this material world. So how does a devotee, what happens exactly? This is very important to understand. When we are saying that the threefold miseries do not exist anymore for the devotees, does it mean only for the devotees tsunami will not be there? Only for the devotees this epidemic or pandemic will not be there? You see, we should try to understand what exactly is it. So, transcending is different from thinking that these things do not exist. Prabhupada gives an example. Rain may be there, but you can take an umbrella and be protected. That is the meaning actually. So, a devotee transcends, even though these threefold miseries exist in this material world, the devotee goes above them. Therefore, it does not touch a devotee. He has already transcended them. So this we will try to see. In conditional stage, what does the Lord advise? And once we have become transcendental, of course there is no question that these threefold miseries exist. Let us take an example. For Prahlad Maharaj, doesn't exist. Haridas Thakur, it does not exist. Right? We have seen. Haridas Thakur was beaten in 21 marketplaces. Right? He was caned. But he never gave up his Krishna consciousness. He was not distressed. Prahlad Maharaj was put into so many horrible, terrific material, miserable conditions. He was never affected by all of them. Correct? So, they have already transcended. So, for them we can understand these threefold miseries do not touch them. They are not affected by that. In our conditional stage, what is the advice of the Lord? When we are practicing devotional service, in our conditional stage, definitely these threefold miseries will affect us. Sometimes our mind will give us trouble. Sometimes other devotees may also give us trouble. Some people may give us trouble. Other living entities will give us trouble. Right? So that is in our conditional stage. What is the advice of the Lord? That also we'll see. Then we'll also try to understand what exactly does it mean? How does a devotee become transcendental? What is that phenomenon involved? How does a devotee, he is also living in the material world. Prahlad Maharaj was also living in this material world. Haridas Thakur was also living in the material world. In what way did they transcend? How they were able to transcend? So that also we'll try to see. So, in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada explains this very nicely, that Krishna advises in our conditional life, it is very important we have to learn to tolerate these miserable conditions. If we don't learn to tolerate, it will not be possible to practice devotional service, and if you don't practice devotional service, you will never be able to become transcendental. You will never be able to transcend. So it is required. To practice devotional service, we will have to learn to tolerate. That is important. So, Krishna is telling to Arjuna Yam hi na vyathayanti ete purusham purush harshabha samadukha sukham dhiram so amratvaya kalpate. So Prabhupada translates, O best among men, Purusham, Purusha Harshabha, just like Bharat Harshabha, O best of the Bharata, Purusha Harshabha, among the Purushas, among the people, O best of among the people. So Prabhupada explains there is a reason why Krishna is calling him Purusha Harshabha, why he is reminding him, you are best among the people. Why this reminding? Why Krishna is calling him by this name? That is also very interesting. Because how can a person who is best among people be actually bewildered by Sukha and Dukkha? We find Arjuna is getting bewildered, right? So Krishna is reminding him, actually you are supposed to be the best of the people and you are getting bewildered. That should not happen. So very nicely Prabhupada is saying, O best among men Arjuna, the person, yamhina, anyone, any person, na vyathayante ete, who is not disturbed, vyathayante means disturbed, who is not disturbed by samad dukkha, sukha, by sukha and dukkha of this material world, rather he faces them with equal mind, sama. For him, sukha is also equal, dukkha is also equal. What happens in the material world? Sukha elates us, dukkha delates us. We become down, we become completely disappointed, right? Consciousness becomes down. So, for a person who is trying to advance in spiritual life, he has to learn to be equal in sukha and dukkha. That means he has to tolerate dukkha. And is steady in both, is certainly eligible for liberation. So why we have to learn to tolerate? Why it is required that we have to consider it to be equal? Because then we will become eligible to be liberated from material happiness and distress. That is very important. So in the one of his lectures, Prabhupada is explaining about this. Krishna is addressing Arjuna, Purusharshava, O best of the men. Certainly Arjuna is the best of mankind because he is personal friend of Krishna. Who can be better than him? Best of men. Why is the best of men distressed in executing his duty? This is important. So actually, those who are intelligent, those who want to be eligible to be liberated, they should try to become best of the men. Only best of the men are eligible to be liberated. Otherwise, people who are like cats and dogs are not eligible to be liberated. Actually, the best of men should not be disturbed by any material condition, but simply discharge his duties. And then Prabhupada is saying, for what is that duty? What is that most important? Why we have to discharge that duty? Because the most important duty is to become immortal. That is the most important duty of humankind, to get rid of this material world, to become liberated, to become immortal. So amratvaya kalpate. Duty is to become immortal. Formula is given by Krishna. How to become immortal? So this is a formula. That means you should be oblivious to so-called happiness and distress of this material world. Oblivious means not concerned, not bothered about. See, we have to be oblivious to so-called happiness and distress of this material world. One who does not care, that is the meaning of oblivious. One who does not care what is the distress and happiness of this body, must execute Krishna consciousness. He can execute. That is the qualification. Then Prabhupada is also saying another very important thing. Who is not qualified? So qualification is one who does not care what is distress and happiness of this body, he can execute Krishna consciousness. One who says, oh, I cannot execute Krishna consciousness because there are so many inconveniences, is not fit for becoming immortal. He is not fit. Anybody who gets disturbed by material happiness and distress and finds difficulty in executing devotional service, that I cannot execute because all these problems are there, actually he is not eligible to become immortal, not eligible to be liberated from this world. This is advice of Krishna, why we have to learn to tolerate in conditional life, right? Then, very nicely, Prabhupada explains that actually these are the circumstances when these kinds of difficulties arises, it is actually an advantage for a devotee. And a devotee never prays to the Lord that, my dear Lord, you take away all these material distresses. Generally, an ordinary human being, we find that when he is in distress, he prays. Of course, they are also, according to Chaturvidha Bhajante Mam, Krishna says, one who is in distress and prays to the Lord in distress, he is also a pious person. But a devotee, he is above that, even piety. He does not even pray that, my dear Lord, take away the distress. He tolerates those distresses. So very beautiful example Prabhupada is giving. Prabhupada says, a devotee understands this is a surgical operation done by Krishna. It's just like a surgical operation done. I have committed so many sinful activities because of which I am suffering. Now Krishna is operating me. So when a person understands that actually the doctor is performing a surgical operation, even though he knows it is painful, but he undergoes that. He knows once that surgical operation is over, finished, my problem is over. So that's why it is important to tolerate in our conditional life. So very nicely Prabhupada is saying, it is Krishna's wish that I should suffer like this. It is not suffering, it is my pleasure. Just like when a patient is undergoing surgical operation, there is a pain, but he knows it is better for me. He is happy. When he is undergoing surgical operation, no problem, some pain I am going to have. But this so-called wound or whatever I am getting operated, it will be removed. So he is happy. It is better for me, therefore agrees, yes sir, you go on with your knife. So when you are surrendered to Krishna and Krishna says, I shall give you protection, so even in distressed condition we must know we are being protected by Krishna. This is very important. Devotee never loses a hope. I am in distress means Krishna has abandoned me. No. Even in distressed condition, just like in surgical operation, he is under the protection of the doctor. Similarly, even in our distressed condition, devotee should never think that I am not under the protection of the Lord. He is still under the protection of the Lord. It is the will of the Lord that I undergo this little suffering. Isn't it? We should not be disturbed because we create so-called distress and happiness. Actually, this world is distress. So-called happiness is also distress. So why a devotee should be disturbed by distressed condition? Isn't it? So he knows so-called happiness is also distress. Distress is anyway distress. So why he should get disturbed by so-called distress of this material world? So this is why it is important. Prabhupada says that we should learn to tolerate. Then Prabhupada explains how actually a devotee transcends by performing devotional service. What happens exactly? That one who becomes absorbed in Krishna consciousness, for him these miseries do not exist. We are in conditional life, it will exist for us. We have to learn to tolerate. But there is a stage. We should all aspire for that stage, that one day that stage will come, where these disturbances of my body and all will not disturb me. Prabhupada gave that example. Prabhupada wrote a letter. Prabhupada says, constantly there is a sound in my mind, buzzing sound. In his last days, when Prabhupada was translating Bhagavatam, but Prabhupada is saying, still I am translating. You see? So, a devotee who has become completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness, his mind is completely absorbed in Krishna, he does not feel the distress of this material world. So there is a very nice verse which we are going to, after few more chapters we will be seeing, where Kapila is teaching Mother Devahuti. So in that he talks about how does a devotee transcend the miseries of this material world. What exactly happens? So he says, Mad ashrayaha katha mrishthaha shrunvanti kathayanti cha tapanti vividhastapa naitan madgata chetasa. So, mad ashrayaha, under my shelter, katha mrishthaha, devotee takes delight. Mrishthaha means he is very joyful, very delighted in discussing and hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. Shrunvanti kathayanti cha. For Krishna Katha, he takes delight in chanting and in hearing Krishna Katha. By this process, being absorbed like this, tapanti vividhas tapa, he is able to transcend the so-called miseries of this material world. Engaged constantly in chanting and hearing about me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sadhu do not suffer from material miseries because they are always filled with thoughts of my pastimes and activities. Their mind is always absorbed in chanting the glories and hearing the glories and pastimes of the Lord. So, in the purport, Prabhupada very nicely explains this. There are multifarious miseries in material existence pertaining to body, mind, imposed by other living entities, imposed by natural disturbances. But a sadhu is not disturbed by miserable condition because his mind is always filled with Krishna consciousness. Thus, he does not like to talk about anything but the activities of the Lord. Somebody's mind is filled with Krishna consciousness. He will only talk about, hear about, remember about only the Supreme Lord. So, in this regard, Prabhupada very nicely explains a very interesting principle. Prabhupada explains, actually one should understand the root cause of our suffering. What is the root cause of our suffering? What is the root cause? Being forgetful of our relationship with the Lord is the root cause of our suffering in the material world. Correct? Material world is just like when we are no more an obedient citizen, then we are criminal, then only we face problem. Otherwise, an ordinary citizen is not facing problem like that. Just to give an example. So when we forget our relationship with the Lord, being forgetful of the Supreme Lord, we face this material existence, all the problems in the material world. Correct? What does Prahlad Maharaj say about this? In the material world, the living entities are not understanding their real swartha, being forgetful. Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. So they have forgotten completely, they have become forgetful of the Lord. So this is the thing. Prabhupada very beautifully described. This is very interesting way how Prabhupada describes this. It's very interesting. Prabhupada says, ordinarily, conditioned souls, being forgetful of the activities of the Lord, are always full of anxieties and material tribulations. Here we are seeing about the activities of the Lord, devotees remembering the activities, chanting the activities, hearing the activities of the Lord. Correct? Being forgetful of this, the living entity is rotting in this world. He is in anxiety in this material world. Correct? On the other hand, since the devotees always engage in the topics of the Lord, they are forgetful of the miseries of material existence. You see, one is forgetful of the Lord and suffering the material miseries. One is constantly remembering the activities of the Lord and thus he is forgetful of the miseries of the world. If we remember Krishna, we will become forgetful of miseries of this material world. You see, this is what exactly Prabhupada very beautifully describes why Kapila is saying, Lord Kapila is saying, one who is constantly absorbed in Krishna, for him these miseries do not exist. You see. So Prabhupada quotes one beautiful song by Narottam Das Thakur. He says, Deha smriti nahi yaar, samsara bandhan kahan tar. One who is always remembering Krishna, for him there is no Deha smriti, does not think about this material body. Where is the question? He will think about the products of this material body, right? Aham mameti. Deha smriti nahi yaar. He is no more. He is forgetful of this deha. Samsara bandhan kahan tar. Then where the material miseries will affect him? One who is spiritually advanced has no connection with the body or with the bodily actions and reactions. So for him, they do not exist. In one of his lectures, Prabhupada very beautifully explains about how actually chanting the holy name of the Lord actually has many effects. So Prabhupada says, primarily, there are three very important effects of chanting. So of course Prabhupada is talking from that verse of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, but very precisely, very interestingly Prabhupada gives three important points. He says that just like to cleanse your material body, you require a soap. Chanting is the cleansing of the soul, cleansing of the mind, cleansing of our consciousness happens. Just like for the body you require soap to cleanse it. Similarly, to clean your consciousness, to clean our mind, spiritual, the holy name of the Lord is required. So Prabhupada says, chanting is a cleansing process, just like the soap. What happens when our mind becomes cleansed? Then Prabhupada says, this is the first effect of chanting. Once this happens, one becomes free from anxieties of this material world. This is the second thing. And third thing Prabhupada says is, he becomes completely joyful. Once you are free from anxieties of this material world, then Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Sochati Na Kankshati. You come to Brahman platform, no more distress of this material world. You are Prasannatma. Isn't it? So automatically that happens. And with respect to Prahlad Maharaj, Prabhupada quotes the verse. Prabhupada says that actually devotee has one distress, otherwise he has no distress. This material world distress does not distress him, but still he has one distress. When he sees living entities, vimukha chetasam, soche tato, he is still lamenting. Devotee otherwise has no hankering, no lamentation, only one lamentation. When he sees living entities not surrender to the Lord. Otherwise, he is very clearly saying, he says, Nevodvije paradurattaya, this material world which is very difficult to overcome for others. He is saying, this does not give me any anxiety. This material world is not anxiety for me. Otherwise, this material world is called kuntha. Actually, it's a place of anxiety. But for a devotee, it's not a place of anxiety. He is not disturbed. Neither he puts other in disturbances, neither he is disturbed by anyone. That is another thing which Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says. Such a devotee who never puts other into disturbances and who is not disturbed by other, such a devotee is very dear to me, Krishna says. So, how a devotee is not disturbed, that Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Tvat virya gayan mahamrita magna chittaha. Why? Because my mind is constantly absorbed in Tvat virya gayan, activities of the Lord, wonderful activities of the Lord. If our mind becomes absorbed in that amrita, then there is no material anxieties anymore. So that is how a devotee is able to transcend this material miseries, and that's why we can see here Prabhupada is saying that for great devotee like Swayambhuva Manu, where is the question that threefold material miseries would exist? So we'll stop with this. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.